This is the Going Off podcast. We had some audio issues again, but on this week's show, we are reviewing Taboo by Denzel Curry and Queen by Nicki Minaj. And away we go.
Darren, what did you think of your boy, Denzel Curry? We didn't really talk about him too much when he was announced for the freshman class, last year or 2 years ago? And when I posted on Twitter that we'd be talking about him, someone said that we should be careful because apparently the Denzel Curry fan base is one of those. Is that the case? I didn't know that about him.
Is this one of those things? Because people were posting on our videos for the past week and a half. Denzel Curry, where's Denzel Curry? So this is what I'm trying to figure out, right? These people who post Denzel Curry, come on, review Denzel Curry, do it. But then if you say anything bad about them, they hate on you. It's just like, well, did you want me to review it? Or really think about that.
I'm trying to wrap my head around that, too, because I don't think in the history of the podcast I've seen that many comments requesting one specific thing. Like, someone just posted Denzel Curry Taboo, and I think it got, over 100 upvotes. It was just okay, and I listened to it, and I hate to say it, because, I really liked the album, right? But I'm not seeing why it was suggested that much.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. I was just like, is this that type of album? It's all right and we'll talk about it, but I'm just like, it just doesn't seem, it seems more like hype for the artist than hype for the actual project, maybe, because I'm thinking, I could see how he's a very, charismatic sort of guy, and maybe he just has a really big fan base in general.
And is Denzel Curry the kind of dude who needs the promotion? He needs the attention? He seems like he's doing okay for himself, especially if he has that many people hounding a podcast to talk about him.
See, that's what I was thinking. If it was an underground cat and people don't really talk about him as much, and it's just come on, we got to get some love for this guy, I'd feel that. But I'm pretty sure he's about on the level, because I hear about him a lot.
I will say, I'm just going to go ahead and straight out of the gate that I'd probably give this around a 4, because I really enjoyed it. You guys in the comments did it a disservice, because you fucking put it up there dude, this is going to be album of the year. And I don't know about that.
I even more so don't know about that, because I think you were a little nicer than I was, but let's get into it. We got track number 1, which is cool. Denzel Curry is one of those guys, I'm going to just say it like this. He's one of those guys that throws social commentary into his raps, but it's in a way that, there are people who can do it well, and it feels like there are people who oh, yeah, that is very important that you threw that in there, but it does feel kind of haphazardly thrown in. Because he's I put that on my brother or something like that, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, we're getting serious. But then, when it got to the verses, he was just he didn't mention it at all. So remember how I had said about, what's his name's album? Joey Badass. He kind of works in social commentary too, but that's not it was also in a way that was he's bragging, but the social commentary kind of flips in there. But I felt he balanced it in a way that really made it work. I feel in this way, in this album, it gets very lost. It's really easy to lose exactly what he's talking about. And I feel part of that especially is the choruses. That kind of don't really do the best service of really introducing you to the topic. There's a song earlier in the album that's called Black Balloon, so I'm thinking oh, okay, so, we're getting really deep now. This is called The Blackest Balloon. And the chorus is ooh, which first of all right, I already don't feel like this is supposed to be a serious song, because he just started it with ooh, and then he said, feel like a horror movie. Now, for someone to use a sort of vague metaphor like that, it's just oh, this is one of those, ooh, it's scary, but not really scary. It's just the aesthetic of being scary. But then he says, why is my brother calling to me? Now, I looked it up, and apparently his brother had died from a police brutality incident. And then the next line is ooh, acting like I never knew me? Wait, you're acting like you never knew you, or your brother's acting like you never knew you. And it's call me nitpicking, but this is on the chorus. I need to know what you're talking about, So already we have a faux scary line. The second line is, oh, wow, this is deeper than I thought it was. The third line is, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm just okay, we haven't even gotten to the verses. And then, but I'm thinking okay, but it's gonna, maybe the chorus just isn't as good. The verses are really gonna lay down, something involving his brother, something about, death. or something serious like that. You know what I'm saying? Then he goes like, I put that on gang. Wait, I put that on my name. Put that on my mama. Put that on my first chain. You see what I'm saying? And like, this song is called The Blackest Balloon. Balloons are in the music videos. This is supposed to be serious. And this is the first two lyrics, and it's just, oh, I put that on this. I put that. It's just the same, gang whatever shit. You know what I mean? Put that on my first chain. There is nothing less important than just a chain. Just I don't care if it is, it costs $300. It's just a chain. Especially compared to your mom and your friends. Like, what? You see what I'm saying?
You know someone on here is going to tell you about how important that chain is.
Yeah. Well, the chain was given to him by his brother, and so you're an asshole now. Like, it's going to be some shit I didn't know.
Absolutely.
But even if that is the case, it's like, okay, but how am I supposed to know that from listening to the song? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah, he says, these hoes will leave you passed out in your underwear, and Curry's still that dude with a mouth full of gold. And it's just like, this is really unimportant stuff for what it felt like the chorus was trying to do. You see what I'm trying to say? It was a song he was talking about like, I'm tired of you rappers bragging about, it was Perks. The one where he's like, all you rappers, all you do is rap about being on drugs and say dur and act like that's lit and, all this stuff. And it's just like,
yeah,
you were just doing that. You were literally just doing that. Cash Maniac. The song is called Cash Maniac. It's all about, look, I got money moving up like escalators. I can't see the floor, stack of money, F a hater. Like, what? Free bands, cash flow. This is the mainstream materialistic stuff. What are you talking about?
See, I generally, don't pay nearly as much attention to the lyrics as you do when it comes to these albums. For me, it came down to, it was basically an experience like Ski Mask, again, for me. It was like, shit, this sounds awesome. I really wasn't paying that close of attention to it. I was absolutely 100% down with the beats, the production, his flow, his style. I thought was cool. It was different than what I hear from most rappers, where like it was more talking than rapping sometimes.
And he has a hype energy sometimes that I wish he actually used more. That was just like, you know what? And you know what? I feel like, honestly, the way you listen to it is probably the way to listen to it, because it's just like, if you try to pay too much attention, things sort of fall apart as far as like a cohesive, like not even album, just cohesive songs.
And it's like, I hate if it is supposed to be taken more seriously, because I don't know, like with the album cover and some of the subject matter brought up, and it sometimes does feel like it's supposed to be a heavier album than I'm experiencing it. Like, I feel like I'm not giving it the credit it deserves, or I'm not listening to it right, but it's like, I can't help what hit me the way it hit me.
But then you have tracks like Super Saiyan Superman. Like, cause he's like, oh, little bitch ride, I don't fuck with anybody that kill my vibe. If she slide, then she better be clean like Tide laundry detergent. Oh, just in case you didn't get it. And what was that one lyric he says like, I'm on my Yes Jules mixed with Katy Perry shit, white on white, while I'm on this beat. And I was just like, wait, so cause he's saying, while I'm on this beat. So, okay, I know he's not talking about like a car, like, oh, it's white on the inside, white on the outside. No, he's talking about his flow, his raps are white on white. But then, like I said, every time I want to be like, for the last couple of minutes, I've been telling you all the negatives, right? But then he drops some punchlines that are just like, okay, yeah, that wasn't an easy one. That took some time. Or just something where it just like came out of the blue, like dropped more crack than eggs on Easter. I was like, huh, like, that one just doesn't come to you. You got to think about that one. Yeah.
I thought he was really clever, and I liked that he was able to throw in, like we mentioned last week, how a bunch of these new cats are doing, where they're throwing in these references to like nerd shit, and it works, and it doesn't feel like how. And I'm trying to think of a specific example, but not like
Nicki Minaj with Chun-Li.
Yeah, but like every so often I hear nerdcore rappers do that shit, where it's like randomly throwing in a video game reference, and it feels like the most obvious, predictable bullshit.
Yeah, because it's like, well, of course you're a nerd, so you have to mention Link, and you have, it's just like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, and when I say that, I don't want any disrespect to, like, Mega Man and Samus, because honestly, I don't hear them do that shit. It's some of the other folks that do that shit, though, where it's like, yeah, I'm getting my rupees like Link. It's like, it's like, oh, fucking, of course you are, like really base level shit. But with him, it's like, he was dropping, like, wrestling references in there, too. I was like, oh, okay, like, not your standard issue, like, Hogan, Flair, Randy Savage shit either. Like, it was kind of getting a bit obscure in there, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, if you're able to work in references like that in a song and have it be more than just get a cheap pop for me of like, oh, wow, but, like, you actually made it work, and it sounds good, it's like, dude, you're doing extra right now. Like, you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate that you did.
And can I say, okay, Gold Link, his verse on, what was it, track 1 or 2? That was just whack. Like, I don't know who, I think I remember Gold Link, didn't he do it? I see money all around me. She like, that joint, right? That's him, isn't it? Yeah, I like that one. Wait, no, I don't think that was him singing, though. I think he had the first verse, so never mind. It's not as important to the song as I was thinking. Never mind. But yeah, because I was listening to this and I was like, oh, that's the dude that did the song. Oh yeah, this is probably going to be at least, a little interesting, and it was just like, nah. In fact, I'm pretty sure like the first 4 lines didn't rhyme. Like, he was like, heaven or hell, which one prevails? Okay, we gotta go and figure it out. Alright. That was at the end of the line with prevails. So what I'm thinking is you wanted me to think prevails rhymed with out. And then I tried to tell you that this life isn't, and I just want to be the rightest I could be. And then the next line is, of course, when they don't rhyme the line, then they rhyme the next line. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to bring it to the next line. Show my son to think so he could fly as high as could be. You didn't rhyme for 4 lines in a row, and then the first rhyme you do is just rhyming could be again. Like, okay, I'm tuning out, bro. I'm sorry, you lost me. But like I said, I don't want to down this album too much, because like I said, it pops out of nowhere with really, really hype tracks. Like Sumo was a super hype track. Really enjoyed that one all the way through. Every now and then he drops a flow and some punchlines that are just like, oh, holy snap. I wasn't expecting that one. Sorry, I got kids here. But it's just like, but you know what it is? It feels like those lines are so genius. Like, I'm trying to figure out, are those lines really that genius, or is there so little going on around them that when they do happen, it makes it feel that much more, big? That's what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wonder, because honestly, I was more taken away by the production than I was the rapping on a lot of these songs.
Production
was
like, definitely top notch.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, this was fucking like, this to me was like, remember last week when I said Ski Mask was a really great album in its own right, and Travis Scott was like better in the more traditional, like, professional sense? I felt like this album was kind of like you took the production elements and the professionalism on the Travis Scott album and you put it on an album like Ski Masks. Like, it had the best of both there. Like, it wasn't as corny as Ski Mask could be, but it definitely still had some of the corn, some of those, like, references that was like, like, it was still kind of funny at points, but it sounded so fucking dope that it was like, this had something, I think, for, like, both crowds.
And I totally feel like that was probably the aim. However, I feel like, I think it was Vengeance where the beat was like, it was perfect for what was happening. And, and matter of fact, we'll get to, Kurt Cobain in a second. But yeah, Vengeance, it was perfect for what was happening in the beat. And then, like, the last minute, it just switched to this other slightly nicer sounding beat, but didn't really do anything with it. And it was just like, well, why did you do that then? You know what I'm saying? It was just like, what was that for? Like, you had me. We were fine. The song was over and I was going to give it a good rating. And then you just kept going for no reason, you know?
They did a lot of that shit on the Nicki album, too.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a second. But for all the people who are thinking I'm just crapping on this album, I'm going to give you Clout Cobain. Because, and at first, that song felt like it was going to be, you know, the criticisms that I had for the rest of the album, where it's just like, it feels like they're trying to go really hard, but they're also trying to have the light, you know, just crazy, silly stuff. But I felt like this song mixed it in a way that was kind of perfect. It mixed both elements in a way that I think should have been more prevalent, and more taken care of to really, emulate this sort of mixing of the styles for the rest of the album, right? Because, you know, okay, first of all, you have the name Clout Cobain, which is just like, okay, well, we know they're gonna make it, you know, every rapper does it.
That is one criticism I'll have of the industry as a whole. That Kurt Cobain wasn't the only famous person to commit suicide, arguably because of how famous he was getting, and he couldn't deal with it. Like, I hate that it's like, oh, I'm blind, like it blank, like Stevie Wonder. Like, they always go to one example. And I get it, it's like Clout Cobain, it's a play on it, so that's clever. But I guess it's like, I can't blame him for how overused it is, because he actually did it better than most people do. But man, I'm sick of seeing it.
Yeah, if other people hadn't done it as much, maybe this would have hit a little harder.
He suffers, yeah.
But as it was, I didn't enjoy it, because, like, okay, so you have the name, first of all, Clout, you know, the idea of like, oh, doing something to get popular, and then Cobain, and then you have the sort of theme of this song being like, this guy might bam himself to get popular. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to deal with this anymore, and I'll still be popular after I go, so let me just get, you know, I don't have to deal with the problems anymore. But then, okay, so at first it's like, Suicide Doors, call it Kurt Cobain. I was like,
yeah.
You know?
I was like,
And then Sue Leather Seats Like a Bloody Stain, which is, again, is sort of like, aha, isn't it cool that I'm using this dark, macabre imagery just to describe some sweet-ass seats in my ride? You know what I mean? But then there's, like, the sort of idea that is like, well, is he actually talking about, like, this sort of, the actual imagery he's talking about? Because he says, you're gonna want to cry and I'm gonna make it rain. That's the one. Oh yeah, that was it. That was the line that kind of made me stop for a second and go like, wait, is he doing something with this? With the idea of, oh, it's a joke, but seriously? You know what? I'm going to give him some props with that one. You know what I'm saying? And then where he says, like, I stay low so my demons don't acknowledge me. When I go, I know death don't do apologies. I was like, all right, that was pretty, you know what I mean? It's dope. Like I said, he has a whole bunch of dope stuff that's scattered all across this album. Dope flows and everything. But I feel like maybe there just needed to be a little bit of chopping, a little bit of editing to make it tight. Because as it was, you know, you gave it a 4. I would give it more of a 3.
I could definitely see that, yeah.
Yeah, and I hate that, because it's like, I hear so many cool ideas and there's so many moments of like, I feel like this needs to be explored more. That needs to go a little deeper. I feel like some songs, I have fun on them and then they end too soon. Straight up and down. Like, I know we're kind of on the, you know, long chorus, one verse and long chorus thing, but it's just like, it feels like it's to these artists' detriment sometimes, especially someone like Denzel, who I feel like is doing more than the average Lil Pump. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking at this. There's only one song that's even 4 minutes. All the other ones are shorter. And, I mean, for a rap song, for me, I think that is kind of ideal. Like, you don't really want a rap song to go too long. And there have been a lot of times where we've, on this show, reviewed a song that's like 7-8 minutes. And it's like, it didn't need to be this.
Your boy Tone Deaf, you know.
Tone Deaf, I go back to Lupe, did that like 9-minute song back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, man, either, like, I know you got a lot to say, but when it's one message, one flow over one beat for that long, shit gets monotonous. Like, if you want to split up your thoughts into different songs, I think that works a whole hell of a lot better.
My wish is that he would have cut out some of the other stuff in order for the emotional moments, in order to expand on the emotional moments just a little bit more. Well, let's get to the main course.
Oh, and I'm ready to dig the fuck in. Look, I'm banging my knife and fork on the table. I am tying my bib around my neck. I'm licking my chops. I'm a fucking cartoon wolf while looking at this. 2.5 out of 5. What the hell was this?
Wow, you were more generous than me in this one.
Look, Again, I was leaning on 2, and I was like, but looking it over, I liked. Hold on, I'm gonna count them. I'm gonna count how many songs out of this. I liked 5. I liked
out of this 19-track album.
19-track album, I liked 5, and that's including the not even really a song outro. I thought Ganja Burns was probably one of the better ones.
Okay, it is. And the reason is the verses. And, okay, remember how we said the beats on the last album were masterful, awesome. These, what is going on? What is going on with some of these beats? They are all over the place. This first beat, okay, I thought this was supposed to be a love song. I thought it was like, oh, love lost, so, I'm burning one for him. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah. Because that's what the chorus is basically saying. Ganja burn, ganja burn. I'm thinking like, oh, yeah, and it's like every time I just think about you. That's literally the lyric. I think about you. So, oh, wait, are you thinking about all these rappers you're dissing? Like, that doesn't really work as well, especially when the beat's more down-tempo and contemplative. You know what I'm saying?
Is that it? It's a burn? Is she burning who she's dissing? Is that what I'm supposed to be getting here? Like, I thought it was an okay track. I thought it was one of the stronger ones. It's not an opener, though.
Yes.
Like, this should have been in the middle of the album, a little like, hey, look, here's a bit of skill. Here's one of the better songs to kind of remind you in the swamp of the middle of this album, just something to remind you, something to cling onto. I need a life raft. That would be Ganja Burns, because, like, the verses are cool, I'm digging it, and then all of a sudden you get this chorus, and it's like, this didn't feel like this should have been here.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be doing a song where you're just listing off names, that's gonna be redundant if you're gonna do the same shit on Barbie Dreams.
Right. Well, okay, so I actually think it was a little clever at some points when she says, you got a dude named Jay. Oh, now you Beyonce. You got about 3 stacks. Oh, now you Andre. I was like, all right, I see you.
Yeah, like, I thought that shit was clever. But, like, what was the rest of it?
Yeah, and then the whole album is just littered with bitterness towards Cardi B. Like, there's, on the very first song, she says, they done went to witch doctors to bury the Barbie. But I double back, kill the bitches, bury the Bardi. And I was like,
no.
I heard you throw that little R in there. Like, come on, dude.
It's definitely a cliche and a trope that she relies on too much. They got a factory trying to crank out clones and like, that's her goddamn fallback. I just need to do this track where I'm talking about how everyone's trying to be like me.
That song was basically the How Many Licks video for Lil' Kim,
But if you look at the rap scene and the women rappers in it, none of them look like Nicki. Like, that's
true.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, who's the Nicki Minaj clone? Is Cardi supposed to be the Nicki Minaj clone?
It's not Dej Loaf.
It's not Cardi. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she's not even really trying to ape her style, at least not like that. I mean, maybe the crazy sort of female rapper thing, but Nicki, you're not even really doing that anymore.
God, no. The most she does on this is that weird laugh she does.
Yeah, unearned, by the way, but we'll get to that.
Like, at the end of Anaconda, which that song was like, hey, I'm fucking around, this is a goofy track, I'm just gonna do a like, okay, fine. But you're gonna do that twice on this album? Twice!
And it didn't even fit.
No!
It didn't even fit.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, at the very least, you could say Anaconda, that fit her, like, sort of trolling style that was going on. But the song that she did it for was just like, why are you doing this here? This isn't the right place for this. Then we get Majesty. So you got the first track, which has a sort of beat that doesn't really fit. And then the very next thing you get is boom, boom, these little, dancing little chords and, freaking Imagine Dragons type chorus over here. Whatever you say, Mrs. Majesty. I'm like, okay, I'm already really out of this because I'm not trying to, like, tell me I'm wrong if I'm wrong, but I've been listening to a lot of, pop stations. And of course, there's a lot of the corporate rock on there. The stuff that's like really just like, it doesn't really go that hard. It's really nice, and that's not to say it's bad, won't you help me sober up? That has its place, but it's just it's kind of light. And I definitely don't expect it on a Nicki Minaj album. Like, what is going on?
I did not like Labyrinth. I hated the chorus. The beat was, and this early in the album, too, especially after Ganja Burns, like...
Yeah, you needed something else.
Yeah, you're still building the momentum. Like, Ganja Burns wasn't that great. You need to... Like, Barbie Dreams should have been second, because that one still has a little bit of the energy. Build it up. Maybe, again, put Majesty somewhere in the middle. That's just where that's what I'm doing. You gotta hide that shit under the rug in the middle. Man, Nicki... another thing she loves to do, which, again, I get it. She loves to remind you that she writes her own shit. That's not enough.
It's like, you need to write something worth bragging about, saying that you're writing your own stuff.
You can't say on your album, like, hey, remember, I write my own shit, and then rhyme, the game's over, hit the showers, like...
And then in bed, where... the first two lines of both verses are just rhyming with themselves? Like, what was that? What was that?
And we'll get to it in a second. I know why she's doing the I write my own shit, because that is a direct reference. But boy, oh boy, half of this review is going to be talking about a very specific person, but we'll get to him. Oh boy! I don't know if you've seen the tweets. Safari did a little live tweet listening to this album. Oh boy, he's got the piping hot tea, the scorching tea coming on through. It's fucking it's ugly, but I gotta take my time to get there because I'm not finished with Majesty.
Oh, okay.
I am not finished with Majesty. So you've got Eminem on this song.
Yep.
In addition to Labyrinth, painfully corny, goes on for way too long. I think
most definitely
you could have got two rappers on this track and split that time in half. I don't know why Eminem had that big of a fucking chunk of this song because none of it's good. Like, it just goes nowhere.
I disagree completely. I feel like, now definitely the first part of the verse felt like
that was garbage.
Okay, right up until the speed it up a little bit part, everything there was just like, why is he's talking about like hanging out with a girl and putting on old school rap? It's like, Eminem, you sound, I hate to say it, you sound kind of old right now. Like, you
saw him in the video. He's looking rough.
Why doesn't she like old school hip hop? Like, why are you playing old school hip hop when you're hanging out with a chick that you're trying to get in bed? Like, what's going on here?
I just wonder how old of hip hop he's talking about.
It's time to check the game for tonsillitis, cause like what they swab you with when your throat hurts, that's why Tribe is so vital. We need Q-tip for the culture. That was so contrived that I was ready to turn off the track. But then he caught me off guard. He's like, all right, speed it up. And he's like, forget about that. And then after that, he has like the words flip over themselves with rhyme schemes, almost as if to apologize for what just happened.
See, I was already fucking done with his ass by that point.
And then he comes at the end with the best way you could have ended a song like this, right? It says two things shouldn't be the theme of your discussion. The queen and a husband. Last thing you want to be is our subjects. I was like, okay, that's good. That's a dope flip right there. And then, whatever you say, Mrs. Take it back. First of all, the song should have ended. There shouldn't have even been a chorus after that. But okay, you have your chorus. It happened before, so you need to have the chorus come back again, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Nicki Minaj decides to come back in, and I'm like, what are you to quote Eminem, let it go, dog, it's over. Like, what are you gonna do that's gonna be like, oh, but stick around for Nicki Minaj? And she doesn't do anything. She just, like, this is the first time on a couple of tracks on this album where just at the end, I guess they just had extra studio time and she just got drunk and just decided to ramble on a bit. And she's like singing and stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? It's over. Stop the track.
I just like picturing you running into the booth. Stop the track! Like waving your arms around, like stop it!
Like,
cut it off!
Like, say your prayers because you about to die slow. Die slow. Die. And I'm like, stop. Like this, the ending of this track stunk of the hurtfulness and jealousy and pettiness that sprinkled on the rest of it over you fucking know who. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, and you know, I swear to God, if you would have scrubbed all the references to Cardi on this album, I honestly feel like this probably would have been a better album. Because there wouldn't have been that sneaking sort of, oh, she's kind of feeling that, huh? And that's why I love Barbie Dreams so much. Because it was completely absent of that pettiness and cattiness. It was just about, I'm gonna play with these male rappers and joke on them. You know what I mean? And that was her having fun for 3 or 4 minutes. And I was like, yes, I'm here for it.
One last note on Majesty. Because
okay.
I would be remiss not to point this out. There's a line in there where she says, they're switching like sissies now.
Oh, yeah.
And Nicki had a song a few years back called Dead Wrong. Where
the remake of the Biggie song, yeah.
Yeah, where she says, yeah, they switch like F words. So people are drawing the conclusion that that's basically the exact same thing, just she decided to replace it with not much of a better word, and people are seeing through it. And it doesn't. Barbie Dreams, I heard a lot about it, so I was excited for it. This, as I made note of, is the second time, well now third, because of Dead Wrong, because she also did a version of Warning, back in the day.
That was when I first heard one of her songs, and I was like,
yeah.
Oh, okay, I gotta keep an eye out for this one. You know?
So she's doing this. It's a play on Just Playin' Dreams, something Lil' Kim did in 1996 with a song called Dreams, where she was rapping about fucking R&B singers, and I think it's a better song.
Oh, I hadn't heard the Lil' Kim version.
It's almost Biggie's thing, but it's gender swapped, where she's like, Dreams of fucking with R&B N-words instead of bitches. And it's like, oh, okay. I think it's better because Nicki's chorus on this is weak as shit. With these little rappers or whatever, like, it's like, that didn't work as good. It's a bit awkward. And I thought, like, maybe as an interlude, where you use the best lines and maybe a short one, I think it would have worked a lot better, because this is just a straight up parody, and like as a whole song, I think it's a bit much. But she had some good lines in here, but the other half was just kind of throwaway shit that was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Like, I tried to F50 for a powerful hour, and like already you're like, okay, well, it's gonna be a reference to Power. Yeah. And then it's like, but all he wanted to do is talk power for hours. Why did you do that? Because actually the next line was better. He says, beat it up, make sure it's a KO, step your banks up like you're moving that yayo. I was like, why did you do that? You had the better line right after it. What are you wasting my time for? And then when she says, I remember when I used to have a crush on special ed, shout out designer because he made it out of special ed. That was just mean for no reason. Like,
and the way she decides to, what's the big punchline? My pussy's got him on special meds.
You're like, this wasn't even worth it, bro.
That was the damn payoff? Get the fuck out of here.
But I will say, the best line. I just like anyone just going after DJ Khaled. Just
I knew it. I fucking
come
knew
on.
It.
But had to cancel DJ Khaled, boy. We ain't speaking. Ain't no fat. Gonna tell me what he ain't eating. That's congratulations. You've won this song.
As I'd mentioned that I would have preferred it as an interlude, there actually is, ironically, an interlude at the end of it where...
And what was that about?
It's like another minute and a half of an unfinished song where it's like, it's okay.
why does this need to be a special moment where we cut the song off? You know, like...
No, yeah, you don't need that shit. It wasn't that good. Like, you could put this on the fucking deluxe edition if you want, using your fucking 2010 voices. You hear that shit? I gotta fucking do all that shit and fucking beat it up like Rocky. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, Nicki is she's the queen of, like, predictable, cliche, overused trope punchlines.
Yeah.
Like
the people being her sons.
Oh my gosh, it's never clever. Like, my god. It would be alright if the delivery and the attitude and everything in the production and everything was cool. You'd be able to overlook the corniness. But I can't, because half of the time the verses are and the beats are 3 songs in a row I have meh written down. Like, that's it.
I was just about to say, we are now entering the goose egg zone, I think we could call it.
Ah, yeah.
All 4 of the next tracks, I all gave zeros. Because I was
Yeah.
just like, what is this? First of all, you have Rich Sex, which, if you haven't heard about the controversy of her looking down her nose at Instagram models. In her interview, right? She said, man, you know, I see all these women, like, selling their bodies on Instagram and stuff like that, and I sort of think, man, did I contribute to that in some way? You know, I kind of hate that I might have contributed to a culture of only seeing women for their sexuality and nothing beyond that. And then you have literal, like, this is nothing short of I want to say propaganda, but I think the better term is just like a theme song for the exact lifestyle that she was saying that she's kind of remorseful about promoting. Now, for me, I don't care. Like, look, make your money, whatever. Just, you know, do it in a way that doesn't hurt yourself. All right, whatever. Like, there's nothing else going on in the song. And then, to make matters worse, Lil Wayne's
Oh my god.
waste of 30 seconds.
That was so bad.
Do I even need to quote it?
No.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I freaking do. Lil Mama said she only effing with a rich dick. I come in her face and tell her, now you looking rich, bitch. That was horrible. That was a horrible opening line.
I'm a fucker in a helicopter. She says, sky's the limit. Like, this would have worked in 2010, dude. Not now.
And then the next line was the same thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just like, it sounds like he came up with 2 punchlines, didn't know which one he wanted to use, and he was just like, you know what, they're so good, I'll just use both.
Why
it's
not
like,
both? Yeah. Hard taco, soft taco. We're gonna roll with them both. And yeah, now we got the you mad doggy, you mad, and maniacal laughing outro.
This wasn't it. You didn't earn this.
No. I've never cared for Weeknd as, like, a featured artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, even on that Beyonce song, I was like, remember 6-inch Heels?
Yeah, no, when he features on songs, he definitely, it feels like he's taking the back seat, you know?
Yeah, and, like, he's a strong enough singer and talent that, like, I don't know, you should be doing more with him. Like, you can't put him in the background just, like, wailing in the background. Like, you need to put him front and center.
His lyricism has way too much personality running through it.
Yeah, the chorus on that one sucked, too.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand that shit. Like, she's got such repetitive, shitty choruses on this album.
Man! Oh, that's the thing! I'm like, okay, like, I was just trying to tell myself, it's like, these are very run-of-the-mill choruses. It's not like they're bad, but it's like, I am not interested. Like, you know what it is? This would sound subpar on an actual R&B singer's album. See what I'm saying? And so it's just like, okay, you know, like, if this is like a Mary J. Blige, or, you know, let's talk about someone more recent. Well, I mean, she's not even touching Janelle Monáe.
No.
But,
God, no.
Like a, I'm thinking of, like, Jill Scott, but it's like, no, she's blowing out of water. I'm trying to think, like, maybe Sierra or something like that.
Oh, okay.
You know? Like, she's not the best singer, but, hey, she brings a bit of personality that people seem to enjoy.
Run and Hide is the vulnerable track that I wasn't feeling at all. And just to take a second, before we get out of the goose egg zone, I just want to read for some folks who may not have seen these. Safari decided to do a little live tweeting listening to Nicki's album, and these are just some of them he tweeted in a row here. Unless I really cared, still I could not let the mention of someone else's name get me that riled up. That looks like someone who either still cares or still holding on to a lot of hate towards someone. How many times have I said I never wrote your raps? Nobody ever talks about that anymore. So that, I think, is where the Nicki taking a lot of, like, hey, I write my own shit, like she's still bragging about that. Like, I think people accuse her of having her shit written maybe by him? I don't know.
Like, that's maybe something you throw in once just to be like, aha, and on top of that, I write my own stuff, unlike these other cats who da-da-da. You know, like, that's something like, oh, yeah, there is a problem of ghostwriting, I get it. But, like, continuously bringing up, yeah, it does feel like this is an emotional spot for you, isn't it? You know?
We knew each other inside and out. I didn't use your card for prostitutes. That's what she's been accusing him of, that, like, he stole her credit cards and bought prostitutes with her money or whatever. You did shit, I did shit. You said you were messing with Meek for years before y'all got together, and I'm not mad about that. Towards the end, it got toxic, and I just packed up and left. Then, the next one, which I think should be what you lead with, but remember the night you cut me, and I almost died. The police and ambulance had to take me out of the crib on a stretcher, and I had to lie to them that I was trying to kill myself so you wouldn't go to jail. When things like that start happening, that's time to dip.
More than once, he says.
Oh, yeah. Like,
when things like that start happening, more than once, as in, there's something else he hasn't said that is on the same level of this insanity. And that's when I hit the Pearl Jam, Jeremy.
And then just a little bit of advice. And you know what? I still don't have no hate for you because I'm happy in my own mind now. Enjoy your album and stop letting these people see you sweat. This ain't you. You too big to act like you actin'. Number one on your level acts like that. Period.
No one. That's what that was. It was just spelled weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because if you are number one, right? You wouldn't be sweating. You know, the fucking Cardi B's or whatever.
You wouldn't be pressed.
Like, there's definitely either a bit of insecurity there, or maybe fucking Cardi is taking that spot. Who knows? I remember when Cardi first popped onto the scene, I was like, I really don't want to see this go down this path of, you know, the fucking Highlander, there can only be one type scenario. But it just happens like that, where it's like, no, I see someone coming up behind me, I gotta push them back down because this is my spot, I can't share it.
And what's really funny is that, wasn't there one song where at the end she was just like, I'm cutting you off because queens aren't weak or bitter. And I'm like, dude, the way you said that literally sounded bitter. You know what would have been better? She would have had a song on here where she was just like, you know what? I am jealous. I hate the fact that it seems like someone's taking my spot, and I'm mad about that. Like, that could have been dope. You know? Like, exposing exactly how you feel, and then people would be like, wow. And of course, now people would have been like, oh, Louis, you're so weak. But I feel like this actually is making her look even weaker. Okay, can we talk about the combination of Chun Sui and Chun-Li? First of all, Chun-Li hasn't even become, like, a name that we call you. So that's what, like, you know, I get it, like, you know, Kung Fu Kenny now, like, I get it, you know, try to come up with a new name. But, like, we don't call you that. And so for you to call yourself that, and this track comes before the Chun-Li track, so if you haven't heard that song, you're just like, why is it called Chun Sui?
Oh my god, Sway Lee, I hate it. I couldn't stand him.
Horrible. Glowing in the dark, 50-something girls on board, running with the marksman, everything on port like on guard. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? When I didn't know it was him, I thought it was just like some new guy. You know, every now and then they get like, oh yeah, my friend, I want to put him on too. And I was like, wait, this is someone who's been recording music for at least the last 4 years?
And he went online to say, Nicki and I coming with a banger. God, stop it. This is not a banger. Fuck out of here. Like, did you hear the finished product? This shit does not slap nor bang. Get out of here.
Okay, so you hear the chorus, it happens again, and then You know how someone has, like, a verse that kind of just sort of just sounds like the chorus again, but it's different? So you're just like, oh god, he's not stopping, he's doing more. Roland West Coast, Arnold Schwartz? Like, stop!
This sucks so bad. And here's another thing I noticed Nicki doing a lot on this album. She references Swish Swish.
Yeah, she comes doing it, like, you were expecting that to be a bigger hit, weren't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I will say, when I reviewed that song, I said that it was probably the second best guest verse I ever heard from Nicki behind Monster. But that song was a flop. Monumental flop. Like, you had to have known, because you reference things that are relatively recent on this album. Like, in Barbie Dreams, you reference the Kiki Challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
And that shit's, like, less than a month old. So, this is bleeding edge. But still, like, I gotta reference that Katy Perry song from over a year ago with Backpack Kid in the music video. People are still gonna be talking about that one. But my pet peeve, the thank yous before the album's done. We're only halfway through, and we're getting a... now I know why she called the album Queen, cause she's really the queen! Really want to thank my fans, I love you all! There's still half an album to go!
It's like,
What are you doing? I could not understand that. You know, maybe, because Chun-Li is the big pre-release single, maybe this is supposed to be like the end of side A, start of side B. Because that way, you kind of got the bookends, because you got the Chuns kind of splitting shit in half. And that way, between Chun-Li and LLC, we get her referencing King Kong 2 songs in a row.
Yes!
Is that a thing? Did also, that ever catch on?
It's like, these aren't good enough references and lines. You know, like, this isn't worth doing. Like, the Chun-Li thing is like, no one's calling you Chun-Li.
No.
It's not interesting enough. It's not clever enough. You know what I mean? Like, Kung Fu Kitty. Oh, wow, that's out of nowhere. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, Kung Fu Kitty. Just Chun-Li? And you don't even do the reference right?
And I'm just going off what people had said, that it's not cultural appropriation because Nicki has Japanese relatives. Chun-Li's Chinese. You can't... Oh. Maybe if you called yourself E. Honda.
Hey, close enough.
Oh, God.
Oh, dude, actually she would have been in Honda. That would have been pretty cool.
Hey! I honestly would have been okay with that. Because she references the buns in the hair, too. Like,
yeah.
You did that for, like, a video and a single. Like, that's not your new look all the time, is it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still trying to figure... Oh, man. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to piss off...
It's a weird sort of reinventing that doesn't all the way... She doesn't commit to it, so it doesn't work, you know?
This is your queen. Is this your queen? I don't want to piss off an entire standum here, but goodness, she seems like such a hard one to love. Like, she has her diehards, and I just don't get it. I don't see how you can listen to this album of, like, shit that just misses the mark so hard. LLC, what, like, I liked the beat on LLC. I'll give LLC that. That was
actually, I'll give Chun Sui at least this. She had a very fun, interesting flow on the verses.
Okay.
You know, doing this, Barbie tripping. Doing this, Barbie sipping. Like, I was like, alright, that's kind of fun.
That got old after a while, but I liked it at first.
Yeah, I thought she was going to do more with it. Like, you know how, like, Tech Nine will do that sort of thing where it's just, like, an interesting flow. It, like, sounds like two people talking. But, yeah, after a while, it just turned into just, like, generic sort of Barbie this, Barbie that. Like, it wasn't, like, related to the line as much, you know?
The two beats I actually liked are back-to-back. I like the beat in LLC, and I like the beat in Good Form.
Ooh, Good Form was explosive. That beat was insane. I started listening to it. I was like, oh, it's like, okay, we going this way. Okay, I feel you. Like, it was one of those songs. The beat was so good. I'm not gonna lie. Didn't need to know what the lyrics were that much.
Oh, man. It was weak. It was fucking whack as shit. But yeah, the beat was good. I'll give it that. But, when Eat the Pussy, he got good form. I tell him it's good for him. Like, fucking stop.
And then the back of the back, back of the back, back of the back. Like, unless I know it's a Maybach, I don't know what you're talking about. The back of what? I know I'm exposing my tax bracket right now, but back of what?
Two songs I thought were okay. Nip Tuck was okay, but not memorable. Too Lit, Too Late was a fun, cute little track, but it was really fucking short.
But she did have a couple of lines. She's like, see a bitch get more pressed than a keypad before you suck me off, get a knee pad. See, I pull strings like a teabag. I'm probably with my jewel or playing freeze tag. You gotta admit, that was dope. That was dope.
I thought that fucking get more pressed than a keypad was whack.
Oh, come on. But Too Lit, Too Late, you liked it. I did not. I was like, what is this doing here?
I liked it enough.
I think it was just
okay.
like, there's so much of waste of time all throughout the album. I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, why are you still wasting my time? Get this out of my face. You have not described a song that is unmemorable and skippable until you get to this next track, Sir.
Ooh.
Man.
Sir is one of the worst songs on the album.
It is the worst. I might give this a -1 just cause.
Yeah, she got this gimmick where every line ends with a sir or sir noise, and it gets old so fast.
Who wanted this?
Oh my god.
Who wanted a song with Nicki Minaj and Future just saying generic crap about, how they get money and da-da-da, but putting sir at the end? Why? What's clever about this? Why is this clever? Is the idea is like that they're being polite while saying these things? Is that the joke?
She's bragging, but she's being really polite about it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting so much money. Excuse me, sir. Like, what?
She rhymed prankster with gangster.
Oh my. Speaking of rhymes that should have been retired in the 80s.
If you're a mobster, you can't eat lobster. You gotta eat something else. A fucking Eminem video.
Well,
if you went to college, you can't get knowledge.
Yeah, you gotta get that knowledge from high school or something. You get.
If you're getting brain from a girl, it can't make you smarter. And she did that shit on here. She honestly pulled one of those.
Dirty Fanta, sir. Hot Atlanta, sir. On the gas, sir. Blah, blah. Why? Why, sir?
Miami, I have a big meh written down for that.
Talk about a song that was promising something it didn't deliver. You remember on, what was that, the Death Grips album? Where, it's just like every now and then they just have a very interesting intro. It's just like, I don't know, man, I just like to suck blood or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
This one is just like, you hear Kodak Black, he's not featured on the song, doesn't do anything. He's just like, he just randomly starts off and just like, the beat's just starting, and then right before the beat comes in, he's just like, I ain't really finna tell you how to get away with murder or something. It just like cuts. It's like, wait, what?
I thought of the Death Grips thing too. That reminded me of that so fucking hard.
That's gotta be a producer tag or something.
Coco Chanel.
I understand. I get it. You got a beef with Lil' Kim, so I'm gonna get Foxy Brown on the joint. But man, self-sabotage.
She could not still possibly have that beef after this long. She did Lil' Kim's bit with Dreams earlier in the album. Like, it's the same gimmick. Like, you can't run that same beef your entire career. That is so corny. Like, there's no reason for that. Numero uno. Me llama Yoko. Stop.
Like, what? Why?
Stop it.
Why?
People cannot use... I'm making the rule right now. You cannot use Yoko Ono's name in a rhyme anymore! Because, talk about irrelevant. Why are you referencing Yoko Ono? I'm sorry.
And then, when he says, if I get an inkling, that thing'll sing, which is alright. And then she goes, ain't talking about the singer, the thing'll sting. It just went on one line too long.
She fucking did that yodeler on Price is Right. She got to the top and I was like, oh, come on, stop! Oh. But the outro to the album and the song, I guess.
Yeah.
What
was that about?
Like, that's for me when the song got interesting, and then I checked and I was like, oh shit, this isn't even the same song anymore? Like, there's no differentiating between it. It just keeps going.
First of all, we just gotta talk about the whack stuff Foxy Brown is talking about. It doesn't even rhyme most of the crap. What is she saying? Give me some blood clot gunshots. Okay, Brooklyn, where the F we at? Flatbush, Bed-Stuy. What? That didn't... And then, where my ratchet at? Come get me, dirty that. Push them shot bout back like I never left. It just goes into the next song, and it's called Inspirations Outro. And I'm like,
I don't get that, yeah.
And she's shouting out all these reggae artists, and I'm like, this album was in no way inspired by reggae. What are you talking about?
Bringing it back to one thing I noticed, and I can't help but, like, I don't think we've mentioned this on the show at all, but back to Barbie Dreams for a second. Takeshi want a Minaj. I said Treyway, curved him, and went the Kim and Kanye way. Cop the Barbie Dream House, then you can play the part. I ain't trying to bust it open in the trailer park.
I think she was talking about Eminem on that one.
Oh, I see. Cop the Dream House. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Still, I didn't pick up on that until just now. I still think it's super fucking awkward and creepy that she's doing shit with Tekashi.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there on this album. At least he's not here, but yeah, I get that. But
I saw one tweet retweeting Safari saying, wow, so Nicki is abusive and endorses pedophiles and kicks it with Puerto Ricans who say the N-word and slut shames and sicks her rabid fans on people who critique her, and Barbie Dreams was overrated / hypocritical. Like, goddamn, fucking went in. Oh, snap.
I forgot because her brother was oh, man, that's not helping.
No, it really doesn't. And Fifi isn't even that great of a song anyway. Why'd you do that? But yeah. Luckily it's not anywhere on here.
Yeah, exactly.
I just thought it was awkward that she had to bring his ass up. Like, you didn't have to do that.
This is the outro for the entire album, and it's like, shout out all these, great reggae artists, Thundercat, Bob Marley, Shabba Ranks, Patra, and I'm like, why are you saying these people's names? That wasn't... And, like, the song before it wasn't even that much of a, like, Caribbean sound. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, yeah, it's a sort of shout-out to it, but it's not like it was like, oh, man, you're gonna feel this. This is what, the sound of Jamaica sounds like. It's like, nah, it was alright. I wouldn't... You know what I mean? It wasn't exactly Welcome to Jam Rock. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just like, why? Like, where is this coming from? And like I said, because the last song isn't enough justification for that, because it's not like it's not like that song was really about that anyway.
I hate to correct you, because I heard you say Thundercat. She says Supercat, which...
Oh, Supercat, excuse me, sorry.
Is she talking about the dude who was featured on the Sugar Ray song?
Yes.
Wow! Shout out to Supercat! Holy shit.
Like I said, she was trying to get those cool points, but it just felt like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I was getting confused with her shout out on the other song, where she just at one point shouts out like random dudes' names. Like, I guess the people she knows: Monte, Avery, Ropo, Joe, Katrina, Mike, Dave, Gary, Josh. Like,
and she says it like she's gonna start rapping, but then she just doesn't.
Oh wow, okay. Ooh boy. So you got Monte, co-founder, CEO of The Republic. Avery, co-founder of Republic. Jim is of Universal Records. Like, they're all, like, record execs.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, I thought it was gonna be, like, dudes that she knew from back in the day. Like, oh, man, these people held me down.
Nah, Mike is from Def Jam and Island. Dave is Republic. Gary is from Republic. And Josh is the head A&R for Cash Money.
So I guess the first half of the album, she shouts out the rich guys who keep her rich. In the second half of the album, she shouts out all the Caribbean influences that it would have been interesting to hear the influences for on this album.
Yeah, that absolutely did not come across at all. No. I opened my review saying that I was going to give it a 2.5, and you said I was generous. How much would you give it?
1.5.
Oh, man. Now I feel like a fool with my 2.5. That is a bit silly. For only liking, yeah. Yeah, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna go with yours. because this is not re-listenable material at all. And for how much he was fucking pushing this back and keeping people waiting, like, if y'all are...
for what?
If y'all are stans and you are excited for this, that's great for you, but man, I would be really disappointed and let down. This sucked. But that about wraps it up for the Going Off podcast this week. I want to thank you very much for checking us out this week. If this just happens to be your first time checking us out, all of our old episodes are on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Just search Goin' Off Podcast. It's GOIN' off podcast. Follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Patreon. And until next week, for the Going Off podcast, I'm Muse.
And I'm Rap Critic. You cannot use it to pay the bills. You can't do that anymore. Sorry. Eminem and company have declared that off limits.